where evil and poverty shall be done away with. Country of brotherhood, where all success shall be founded on service and honor shall be given to the deserving. Country of peace, where government shall rest on the will of the people and the love for the common good. Bless the efforts of those who struggle to make this vision a living reality. Inspire and strengthen our people, that they may give time, thought, and sacrifice to speed the day of the coming beauty of Ghana and Africa. Amen. Can you bring the nominee in, Mayor?
I, Awal, Mohammed Ibrahim,
swear by the Almighty God
swear by the Almighty God
that the evidence I shall give before this committee
that the evidence I shall give before this committee
touching the matter in issue
shall
be the truth,
the whole truth,
and nothing but the truth.
and nothing but the truth.
So help me God.
So help me God. Thank you.
All right. Honorable Dr. Awal Mohammed Ibrahim. On behalf of the committee, I congratulate you on your nomination as Minister for Tourism. In the last government, immediate past government, you were Minister for Business Development. Before that, you have worked with the Graphic Communications Group for a long time. You became the MD. You have your own publication companies as well. Now, in addition to this, if there's anything you wish the committee to know, please tell us very briefly.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm Awal Mohammed Ibrahim, born in Kumbongo in the Northern region in 1961. I went to Chico Ankam Primary and Middle Schools in Tamale, then to Ghana Secondary School for my O-levels and A-levels, then to the Ghana Institute of Journalism. After that, I worked with Graphic Communication Service, and I worked in Tamale WA, and Accra. For graphic, almost 22 years. I rose from being a reporter to features editor, metro editor, business development and advertising, through Jamra to managing director. I resigned from graphic in 2010, worked for Chase Petroleum for a year, and I set up my media house and other business. In 2017, I was fortunate to be nominated by His Excellency President Akufo-Addo as the Business Development Minister. Today I'm here, Mr. Chairman, as Minister-Designate for Arts, for Tourism, Arts and Culture. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Chairman, thank you, Alhaji Awal. Good to see you. I'm going through your CV. Kumbong, which part of Kumbong do you come from? The Kumbongo town or Mbana Hill or which of there? Your mic.
Sorry?
Is it the case that Kumbongo and Savulgo share a joking relationship? You want to explain that to us?
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. Thanks, Mr. Chairman. The people of Savulgo have refused to appreciate that we supply them water. That the water comes from Kumbongo, Dallon. Thanks, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That's noted. The Minister for Business Development, COVID-19 have affected businesses. It's affected small, medium enterprises. It's contributing to a new trend of unemployment in the country. What's your observation? Just tell us what has happened to businesses with COVID, and what have you done as Minister responsible for business development to ameliorate the suffering of small, medium enterprises?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As Minister for Business Development, we were responsible for initiating policies and programs to improve the business ecosystem in Ghana, especially for micro, small enterprises. Mr. Chairman, we initiated a number of projects and programs. One was the Presidential Business Award Program to support young businesses with funding and capacity building. Another one was also the Presidential Pitch, where young people between the ages of 18 and 35 were given the opportunity to pitch their ideas. Those who succeeded had funding. And they also supported people with disability, called the Presidential Empowerment for Women and Men in Disability. Mr. Chairman, we've been able to establish a number of jobs. We don't only leave them after giving them the funding and capacity building, we handhold them and have partnered them for all these years that we've been in power. Despite the pandemic, Mr. Chairman, most of them are surviving, and we intend to do that given the opportunity. Thank you.
Chairman, may I know from the nominee, how many jobs did you create? Your official record, how many jobs did you create? Formal and informal?
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. We created 96,000 jobs from our initiatives in the last 4 years. Thank you. Mr. Chairman, we created 96,000 jobs over the last 4 years under our initiatives.
All right, that's noted. Thank you, Chair.
Yeah.
Chairman, since he was working with graphic communications, may I take him to Article 162 of the Constitution? What would you want to see done to further enhance media freedoms in Ghana, to further give meaning to freedom of expression, and to further guarantee independence of the media, given your background and work with graphic communications? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Media freedom, pluralism is very important to our democracy. What I would like to see, Mr. Chairman, is for journalists to be paid very well. We think the salary levels are not the best, they've been improved. We think our media men should have regular, constant training. If they broaden their scope, depth and breadth of their scope, they're able to do well. So the condition of service of media practitioners should be improved. And this can be done through the private sector and then government support. Thanks, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Honorable nominee, congratulations. I'm sure you've been briefed a little bit about the Marine Drive project. The Marine Drive is expected to create 36,000 local jobs. It is expected to cover 241 acres of land. All that piece of land stretching from Osu Castle to Baden Powell. It was a dream of Kwame Nkrumah. It never materialized until 2013, when Excellency John Dramani Mahama became president. Cabinet memo, all that land has been acquired properly for the Marine Drive. Public sector was involved, about $13 million was raised. As I speak to you right now, the MPP government is yet to come out with this modus operandi of letting the Marine Drive work. What are you going to do to ensure that the Marine Drive comes to fruition?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Marine Drive project is a very important project, a game-changer project in Ghana. When I'm given the opportunity by this August committee, what I'll do is to look at the details. I'm a business-driven person, and I want to assure the House that I'll put in the maximum to energize and make sure that the project is accelerated and create necessary jobs for Ghanaians. Thank you.
As a follow-up to that one, tourism is public sector-led, private sector-driven. Are you going to ensure that the private sector actually participates in the Marine Drive project?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We are expecting the private sector is supposed to invest in between $8 and $10 billion over the next 10 years to ensure the Marine Drive gets underway. We want to ensure that we encourage and enhance the private sector to participate. It's very important that the PPP arrangements are made so that we're able to create, as I said, over 36,000 jobs. What we intend to do is to encourage the private sector across the globe and give a lot of preference to Ghanaians. And I think that we cannot do it alone without the private sector. We would encourage and motivate the private sector to contribute and make sure that Marine Drive projects come on stream and is done according to schedule. Thank you.
Okay, so to my second question. Tourism has been touted as the fourth highest foreign exchange earner, providing about 6.2% to GDP. It also provides about 5.3% of national employment. I think that this information is not accurate. Tourism is more than this. We don't have a tourism satellite account. One was started in 2016. As we speak right now, it has not worked. You are going to take charge of tourism. What are you going to do to ensure that we have a tourism satellite account that gets at the proper data of actual tourism contribution to Ghana?
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. Tourism everywhere around the world is contributing significantly to GDP. In Ghana, as you said, it's about number 4, according to the Bank of Ghana statistics. We think, when given the opportunity, we are convinced and committed to make tourism number 1 contributor to GDP. We've all along depended on cocoa, gold, and oil. We all know that these are extractives we cannot be sure about their certainty in terms of revenue. We're going to embark aggressively, not given the nod, Mr. Chairman, to do both domestic tourism and international tourism. Ghana has the best in terms of tourist sites. The Ghanaian people are very warm. We have very rich arts and culture. We have very good heritage sites. And we think that when we put our heads together, we want to, especially internal tourism. Mr. Chairman, in the year 2019, when we had the year of return, 1.1 million tourists visited this country. That gross over $3 billion. This has been an increase systematically over the last 8-10 years. We don't do much of internal tourism. And I want this opportunity to urge Parliament, represent of the people, to champion this internal tourism drive. If every time you go on break, if I'm given the opportunity, I want to organize members of parliament to go around the country. We want to have corporate tourism, school tourism, religious tourism, and others. Apart from making people know all the parts of the country, it blends national unity and creates opportunity for the rural community. So I want to see that we can do a lot of internal tourism. To do that, we also need to improve our arts and culture. Good drumming and dancing is very important for us. Our national festivals of arts and culture will have to come back on stream. So I can create that. You can't have effective tourism without a good arts and culture background. We need to develop all the three. It's intertwined. So we need to develop our arts, cultural heritage to enhance tourism. We think that over the next 4 years, tourism, Mr. Chairman, should be number 1 compared to GDP, from number 4. We can gross $5 billion averagely from the next 2 years. Tourism, making number 1 is foreign exchange to this country. Thank you.
Chairman, sorry, Mr. Nominee. Are you sure your $5 billion is not over ambitious? Because the projections globally is for Ghana to be able to rake in $1.2 billion. You have any plans to support your overambitious initiative?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I don't think it's ambitious. The $5 billion for me, I think, is even for the next 2 years. The next 4 years, we'll be doing $6 billion. In the year of return in 2019, we grossed $3 billion, $3.3 billion, according to the figures. This is just 1 year. If we improve our internal tourism drive, improve our arts and cultural heritage, we could be able to gross $6 billion by 2024. Mr. Chairman, it's not impossible. With the support of every stakeholder, we'll do it. Thank you.
Well, yes.
Honorable, just a second. Just a second. The chairman has allowed me. Bear with me. The Marine Drive project. Across the world, and I believe that there's nothing new under the sun, are there any models that you find very attractive, which will be relevant to our context, the Ghanaian context, that we can seek to go for? Because there are diverse, examples. Which of them do you find relevant in our context?
So is it in terms of tourism?
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, in Seychelles, what they've done even within this COVID period is have 28 days in Seychelles. It's a model. 28 days, you pay $40,000 for a family of 5. And that has attracted a lot of tourists to that area, just Seychelles. I think that we don't have to reinvent the wheel, but also grow our own strategies in Ghana. Mr. Chairman, when given the opportunity, we want to build a film and music studio. It's one element that can increase the tourism potentials of this country. We don't have any studio in this country. If we build a film studio, and we're working very hard to acquire a studio, that's one of the early things we do. The film studio we build would help in music and in film production, and make Ghana the hub of film production in West Africa. Thank you.
Yes, we will continue.
In November 2018, the World Bank gave Ghana a grant of about $9 million. The first window has opened for $1 million. As we speak now, that $1 million has not been assessed because, among other things, there is no expertise in the system to help people to assess this fund. People in the creative industry, people in the tourism industry, funding is a challenge. But because of the lack of capacity to assess this funding, part of this money is sitting down. How are you going to ensure that the creative industry, the tourism industry, take a benefit of this World Bank grant? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If I'm fortunate to be given the nod by this August committee, we're going to review all such arrangements and ensure that we don't have enough money. We can't allow money like that to go. We'll build necessary competence and capacities and make sure that we put the shoulder to the wheels, so that everything, that if it's lack of capacity in terms of personnel, we'll hire them and make sure that within a scheduled period of the World Bank, we'll achieve the desired results. Thank you so much.
Hassan. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Honorable Mohammed Awal, I congratulate you on your nomination as the Minister for Tourism, Arts and Culture. I think that if this committee approves you and then the plenary accepts, you would be assuming office at a time when the tourism sector is very severely challenged, especially with this COVID pandemic that we have with us. Now, that's going to be a very big challenge for you as a minister, but knowing you as a successful businessman, I believe you would have some ideas how to, sustain the sector. Can you share some of these ideas with the committee on how to make tourism sector very attractive in the midst of the pandemic? Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The tourism sector has been most impacted with this pandemic. As of last month, $1.3 trillion have been lost to the sector. In Ghana, the loss is estimated to be about 6 billion cedis. Everybody with the value chain has been affected. The National Board for Small-Scale Industries has done something in terms of government support. It's certainly not enough. What we intend doing is to make proper impact assessment, which GTA is already doing, to look at what we can do. There are two things we intend to do. We intend to build the capacity of the players in the tourist sector, to also give them business ideas. That's one. It's very important for us to build our capacity, and there are many of them. And two, intend to provide funding. The chance to speak today, we are already arranging, if given the nod, to conclude 50 million cedi facility to help those in the sector. And those have to build our capacity and to give them money, prepare them for the COVID. The chairman, anytime there's a catastrophe, after catastrophe, tourism surges around the world. Second World War is an example. Anytime there's a pandemic after a pandemic, there's a surge in tourism. Want to use the downtime now to prepare our people, build their capacity, give them funding, like I said, 50 million cedis already being worked out, so that they can build and visit. Most of them are also women. 50% of all the industry are women. We need to build the capacity and make sure that they can deliver, from being just entrepreneurs to opportunity entrepreneurs. So that's why I want to do this downtime. So I recommend that, lots of vaccination going on. We are hoping that by the end of this year, travel and activities will pick up. And we'll prepare our people for that. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, my predecessor, who incidentally was Deputy Minister for Tourism, started a smoke factory in Gushegu, which, is still at the infant stages. I think it's still at the substructure under the auspices of the Ministry of Tourism. Can I get any assurance that this project will receive the needed attention so that we can get the benefits from the project, as has been commenced? Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman, I'm sure there are projects that my predecessor, if I'm given a nod, might have started. When given the opportunity by this August committee, I will look at all such structures and make sure that we complete them and get the value out of them. Thank you.
Lastly, Mr. Chairman, well, you are a royal of Kumbungu, is that correct?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
In other words, you are in a position to Mr. Chairman, there are some Kumbungu people here, but I want to oh, it's a substantive question. Mr. Chairman, so you let us
please go on. I'm looking at
as
those
a royal
who are complaining.
As a royal,
at those who are complaining.
I believe that you can assume the namship of Kumbungu someday. Is that correct?
The chairman, it's possible.
It's possible.
As a minister, if you get the nod and the scheme becomes vacant, will you be
That's very speculative.
to relinquish?
That's very speculative. Yes, Nilante.
Thank you very much, Chairman. My very good brother and friend from the Inky fraternity. I want to start first with our festivals. Analyzing our festivals, you can easily see that there is no coordination in order to package it to be exploited as a potential. Because you come to Greater Accra, for example, Lantejawe. After Lantejawe, Adan Safodu, Gamashi, Osu, La, Teshin, following up to Nungo Pram Pram. For the whole of August, July to September. You go to Central Region, Afashe, the following week, Mankasim, the following week, Gomwa, Soko, the same way. And then we are not able to package this into a comprehensive festival calendar so that we can sell to people outside. What are you going to do? What are you going to do to make sure that these are festivals from the south to the north is comprehensively packaged as you into marketing so that we can sell? That anybody who is coming knows I'm coming to Ghana within this period because I'll have the opportunity to observe these festivals. What are you going to do?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Marketing and promotions are very, very important in achievement of goals of my festivals. We want to have a comprehensive calendar, market and comprehensive program, work out with the chiefs, international authorities, and ensure that when they are well marketed within and outside Ghana, we'll have patronage. We also have to work with sponsorship. I think one of the key problems we have is our sponsorship. So as a marketing communications person, I'd want to assure you that we're going to have a program that will help market and promote our festivals for local and international patronage that can give us the jobs that we require. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, this one is local. Lizzie, my sister sitting here, and I struggled and put a lot of effort to start a very unique festival in Accra, Homo Fest, which was even bringing people from the diaspora and the Caribbean. We even had people from the Caribbean coming to participate in it. And then after that, we continue with Chalewote. And then the Carnival. Today, apart from Chalewote, all these other festivals in Accra are gone. What assurances do we have from you that you possibly would revive these festivals to make sure it continues the pleasure of the people in Accra?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The private sector is very, very important in helping us achieve our tourism drive in this country. We cannot have an effective tourism success without the culture and arts. I want to assure that when given the opportunity, we'll make sure that we work with the private sector, just as she started, and bring them on board. Because without festivals and the creative arts, we're going to achieve tourism. Tourists don't come here just to look at the roads. They want to see our culture, our dances, our festivals. So assurance is given that we work with the private sector and make sure that we achieve this goal set for ourselves. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, Ghana is said to have a very huge potential but underexploited. For the past years, we've seen wonderful private investment in the area of water tourism. In Adan, Nazim, if you go to Azim Nanan, Low Moon, Maha, Adan here, and in Latte, Aqua Safari. Our beaches and waterfronts, like Barakese, what can we do to make sure that we exploit these wonderful natural tourism sites
to make sure that we derive maximum revenue from it, instead of allowing these beaches to become dumping sites, places for open defecation, and others.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ghana has about 540-kilometer coastline. We will not be able to effectively manage and resource these coastline resources. We have to involve the traditional rulers, especially in Accra and in the coastal areas, to help keep the beaches clean. We have to incentivize them, give them some incentives to make sure that they help keep the coastal clean. When we do that, again, marketing, private sector involvement, publicity, very, very important for us. When we have to do all this together, we think that our beaches are clean, work with other ministries like environment and sanitation, roads, etc., to make sure that we keep the beaches clean. When they are clean, we think that tourists will come and we can create the wealth for our people and drive that wealth for our people. So it's about keeping the coastline and making our marine coastline resources very effective, involving the private sector, and involving chiefs in the cleaning of our beaches and ensuring that we get the results that we desire. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, my last, as you promised me, my last. Oh, follow up, okay.
Chairman, I'm grateful. There was an earlier question on packaging I find very significant. Packaging of festivals we have within our country. I think it was an important point the honorable member made. And for me, what I see as a challenge is that we tend to overly look at the outside world. Our drive to attract people to focus on what we have within. So in looking at what the outside world will find as interesting or attractive, what are you also doing, or what will you do to ensure that amongst ourselves, between regions and between districts, we ourselves will know what we have and that will have interest within? Yes. Domestic tourism. Thank you, Honorable.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. According to UNWTO, 54% of all tourism is domestic, and that 46% is international. That simply means that we have a lot of potential within Ghana. What we need to do is to improve our sites and encourage people to move. In 2019, 620,000 Ghanaians moved around as internal tourism. We think, given the opportunity, we can make it 1.2 million people move around Ghana domestically. We need to get our media houses in Ghana to support us. One, they're able to highlight the tourist potentials of our areas. It's very important that Ghanaians will be incentivized and encouraged to go around. When we do domestic tourism effectively, one, we are cementing national cohesion. People get to know each other and other places. We are going to redistribute income from urban areas to rural areas, and therefore reducing the rural-urban migration. We'll package internal tourism, encourage school children to go around, and like I said, I want to urge Parliament take the lead in the internal tourism drive. Corporate tourism, when people are on leave, we want to encourage them to move around the places and work together to make sure that the internal tourism potentials are well marketed and patronized. Thank you.
Yes. Chairman, I'm happy you've touched on it a bit. That's my worrying area. Over the period, when I was in school, primary school, arts and culture was the principal subject on the timetable. At least twice in a week. I learned how to dance Adwa from primary school. I could dance all the dances across the country. Today, it's no more there. National ceremonies for arts and culture like Philip Kuku Night, for choral music, is off. And today, rather, we are inundated with Western a series, or what do I call it? Telenovelas and things. When you sit down from morning till evening, the television stations, either an Indian film, an Asian film, South American film, this all throughout. And you don't even see one Ghanaian traditional culture dance of listen on any television, unless you want Obonu. What are we going to do to inculcate our traditional systems and values and cultural practices in our youth, instead of exposing them to these Western cultures? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I want to reiterate that without a strong cultural and artistic foundation, Ghana Tourism Drive will not achieve the desired results. It is therefore important that we build and strengthen our cultural strengths, our cultural heritage. That is why national folklore has been established. That's why the National Film Authority has also been created. Mr. Chairman, as I said earlier, we intend, given the nod, we intend to put up a $20 million studio, already working with the private sector, to make Ghana a hub for film and music and other artistic arts. This will make Ghana the hub of film in West Africa. In Nigeria, the film industry 2 years ago generated $590 million and supported 1 million jobs. In Hollywood, the film industry the same year generated 2.1 million jobs and raking about $12 billion. In Bollywood in India, it also generated about $4 billion. Ghana can do it if we have a studio that we can make sure to produce movies, films, and to help in the creative arts sector. We want to build our creative arts and culture. Without a strong cultural and artistic background, tourism will not go. Mr. Chairman, if I may add, the tourist visitation in 2019 indicated that the tourists spent only 15% of their money on entertainment. 50%. The reason is that there isn't much entertainment. We can't allow them to come here and be looking at Western movies. So when we set up the studio, as we were indicating, to help us to put up Ghanaian movie series, so that the prime time on television, we work with the private sector to ensure that at least 70% is local content. That can give us jobs for our people and create wealth in this country. So, Chairman, we need to make our artists, creative artists, we need to make them rich. We need to make them strong. That can boost our domestic drive. Thank you.
Yes. Honorable Abdulkarim Central. No, don't know. Okankwe Central.
Not the Dansuman MP, the Fadama MP. Thank you, Chairman. Minister-Designate. In 1992, former President Rawlings initiated Emancipation Day. I'm building the point. President Kufuor continued with it with the Pana Fest and Emancipation Day, and also incorporated a right of abode policy into our Immigration Act. That gave Africans in the diaspora the right to live in Ghana indefinitely, and also had an effect on our Citizenship Act. Other major diaspora initiatives were undertaken by the Kufuor administration with the support of Honorable the late Jacob Echavin Lamte. It led to even a name change of the Tourism Ministry to Diaspora Relations. President Mills and President Mahama continued the tradition. They even held a Diaspora Colloquium in 2013. President Kufuor in 2018 launched the Year of Return, and I'm happy you mentioned how much Ghana raked in, over $3 billion. Remittances alone, according to Bank of Ghana figures, in 2020 generated $4 billion to the economy of Ghana. I have before me, with President Kufuor also relaunched the Beyond the Return, which should have happened last year but for the COVID. I have before me a memo, a joint memo, standing the names of Honorable Ambrose Derry, former Tourism Minister and MP for Christia Huni Valley, Honorable Barbara Otin-Jesse, and Honorable Ken Ofriata, titled the Homeland Return Act, which encompasses what my brother Nilante talked about festivals, diaspora relations, and what have you. That brings a total package on the tourism calendar. Are you aware of this document? And what are you going to do to have it laid before this House so that most of the plans that you are talking about will be captured in one document? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, the Homeland Return Act is an initiative by the government to help an African diasporans return to Ghana. After 400 years of they living the shores of Ghana, the act is intended to encourage Africans and diaspora who want to come back to this country and their children. Mr. Chairman, globalization has brought a lot of competition among countries for resources and skills. We are convinced that the Homeland Return Act will not only help the African diaspora who can come with competencies and skills, those come with money for investment, and that will help create the jobs that we need. Because, like I said, globalization has brought a lot of competition. And almost all diasporans see Ghana as their homeland. And this is where to give effect to the opportunity that Ghana is their homeland, therefore they have the opportunity to come to Ghana and stay so I can benefit from their expertise and their funds and resources. Thank you.
Secondly, Honorable Minister-Designate, President Akufo-Addo, in his first term, and under the leadership of Honorable Katrina Feku and her successor, the Prestia MP, Barbara Tinjesi, Honorable, secured a loan of $40 million United States dollars, the first of its kind, to promote tourism, leisure, arts, and culture. We haven't heard a lot about the implementation or disbursement of this facility to develop our tourist sites and other ancillary facilities. What is the status of this project or program per your brief?
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. Yes, the $40 million facility was meant to do four things: to improve the tourist enabling environment, enterprise support the tourism sector, build capacity of players within it, and to improve some tourist sites in the country to enhance tourist stations and revenue. And I'm giving the nod by this August committee, Mr. Chairman. I would have to look at it and see where it's gotten to, and give the necessary drive, energize the process, and make sure that it is implemented according to schedule. Thank you.
Lastly, Minister, domestic tourism. Ghanaians love to travel. They go to Dubai and what have you, Gambia. You have over 400,000 public servants. And they don't even know Tamale. They don't know Larabanga, they don't know Cape Coast, they don't know the Tiwa Mountains. They haven't been to Boga.
Honorable Member, your own children, where do they know apart from Accra and your father's home?
My children, I have made a conscious effort that every vacation I take them to one region. Very important.
That's the beginning.
Yes. So, Minister, what package are you going to put in place? At least for a deliberate program for public servants. That's to start with. That's a big community. That when they are on leave or on vacation, they visit some of these local tourist sites in Ebri, Mole, Cape Coast, Asemanso, the Hanging Bridge at Ablekuma West. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Internal tourism, domestic tourism is very important for Ghana and for Ghana. Mr. Chairman, when given the nod, we intend to package internal tourism to attract minimum of 1 million visitation within Ghana in terms of internal tourism. What we need to do is to make a package with the hotel owners, transporters, airline operators, and food vendors. We would pack in such a way that, as he says, there are about 500,000 civil servants, but also church religious tourism. We also want to show that school children, or catch them young, school children are encouraged to go from Accra to Wa to Tamale to Bolga to Volta region. It's very important for us to do that. As I said earlier, we are targeting 1 million internal tourists every year. That we hope will create a lot of jobs for our people within the down value chain, hotels, food, transport, even cleaners. So our package is to make sure that our plan, strategy, is to package internal tourist sites. So that tourism can also create national cohesion, national unity, and like I said, distribute income from urban areas to rural areas. As they go, they will spend money, and the rural economy will energize and sustain for development. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. Mr. Nominee, my big brother, Dr. Awal Mohammed Ibrahim. Your last post was Minister for Business Development. So you are the minister responsible for business development, basically. And from your CV, you were to coordinate and develop a policy space governing business development. In this country, we have gotten to a situation where some businesses are described as NDC businesses, and other businesses are described as NPP businesses. And when NDC is in power, NPP businesses must be killed. And when NPP is in power, NDC businesses must be killed. We thought that developing the procurement laws will create a level playing field for all businesses, because government is the biggest provider of business, most likely, in this country. We thought the procurement law would provide that opportunity for a level playing field. But you go and look at the statistics of sole sourcing at the procurement authority, and clearly a fair level playing field is not being created for business. We created the Ghana Exim Bank, thinking that there will be financial support for businesses that will engage in international trade and export. As Minister for Business Development, did you pay attention to these critical issues that underpin our capacity to be able to develop businesses across regimes in this country? What did you do? What policy did you develop to ensure that there isn't the discrimination that we see in supporting businesses across party lines and etc.? What did you do?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, in 2017, when His Excellency President Akufo-Addo nominated me, he told me this: you are a businessman. I want you to initiate policies to make sure that Ghanaian businesses grow, especially small businesses. The Chairman, small businesses constitute about 85% of all businesses in this country. And our mandate and our initiative was to look at the Ghanaian, not about politics. So in all our initiatives, we looked at the Ghanaian. Ghanaians have relationships. It's not about NDC and MPP. There are relationships across. So, Mr. Chair, what we did, we had about 5-6 initiatives: Financial Business Support Program, Financial Pitch, Financial Empowerment for Women with Disability, Campus Business Pitch, and then Financial Empowerment for Disability for Males. All that we did was that we announced that we have this initiative. Financial Pitch instance for Financial Business Support Program, that created 96,000 jobs. We advertise it that we want people who have business ideas to apply. When they applied, we had people from all over the country. And the criteria never included which party you belonged. No. The most important thing is, are you Ghanaian? Do you have a business plan, a model that can be supported? If yes, a panel sits around virtue, and it gives you the support. So I think that Ghana is a whole. We are Ghanaians first and foremost, and business doesn't know party colors. We must support Ghanaian businesses irrespective of the party that the person comes from. When businesses improve, they also employ people. I don't think they follow whether in party A or party B. Ghanaian businesses must be supported irrespective of their party colors. That's the way we can grow a country and make Ghana an important country in the community of nations in the world. Thank you.
There's a lot more to do around that. Marine Drive Tourism Investment Project. 215.7 acres of land. I don't know if you have read through the project document. Have you read the project document?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, the Marine Drive.
It's just a question. Have you read the project document? I'm going to ask you a question. I need to know if you have read through the project document.
I've been briefed.
Pardon?
I've been briefed.
You have engaged?
Briefed.
Oh, you have been briefed, but you haven't read the project document. Okay. All right. I mean, it's a major project involving 217 acres of, I believe, the most valuable land in Accra today, apart from maybe airport residential area or cantonments. Now, you are going to that ministry, assuming this parliament approves you. What guarantee do we have? And do you promise this house that when you get there, you would account to us the mechanism by which you are going to allocate the lands to developers? Will you be fair? Will it be through transparent public auctions? Can we get that assurance? And will you report to Parliament how fair and transparent the process of allocating these lands for the development and engaging developers will be?
Thank you, Chairman. The process has begun. When I'm given a note by this committee, but I can assure the House that I'm going to look into it and make sure that the needful is done. We cannot wait any longer. So if I want to assure the House that I'll take the necessary step to ensure that we activate it and make sure that it goes very well according to the schedule.
The question is not a schedule for the implementation of the project. The question is specific. It is 215.7 acres of land, prime land, one of the best lands in the country. And you are supposed to engage developers to develop the whole place. You are likely to be dividing it into lots and giving out. Question is, can you assure us, assuming you become the minister, that the process for selecting developers and allocating these lands will be transparent by public auction, and you report to this House how you allocate and determine people who will use this, who will develop these lands? That's a specific question I'm asking.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, due process will be followed. The right thing will be done. Thank you.
Last question is, I've looked at the handing over notes of the Ministry of Tourism, Creative Arts, and they propose that we develop Aquaba hotels across the country. How will you achieve that? Because that's a very important initiative. How will you achieve that project?
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. Aqua hotels are supposed to be luxury hotels to encourage domestic tourism. I think it's a very important concept and idea, and I would want to follow up and ensure that it's done. At least one in each region. Thank you.
Yes, Reverend. I'm grateful, Honorable Chair. Congratulations, Doc, on your nomination. On Panafest and Emancipation, Asin Manso plays host to the monumental Emancipation celebration since its inception in 1998. For 23 years and 23 consecutive times, Asin Manso has hosted Emancipation, which has attracted thousands of tourists from the diaspora. Unfortunately, the tourism potential of the Asin Manso slave monument has been woefully underdeveloped, There is no guest house, there is no rest stop, and the Slave River itself, which is even the thrust of attraction, is left at the mercy of the weather. Now, 23 years on, what assurance can you give to this committee of your commitment to develop an integrated Asin Manso slave monument and its ancillary tourism potentials in order to maximize the gains that this country can benefit from that sector?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Asin Manso project is a very important one. Indeed, the whole slave route from the north to Asin Manso is the exit point. It's very important for us. I want to assure this committee that when I'm giving the nod, we would make sure that we develop it into an iconic tourist site to attract visitation and to improve facilities and make sure that it's one of the best tourist facilities in this country. I can give you that assurance, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We are grateful for that assurance. Secondly, in March 2019, the President of the Republic, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, signed an MOU, 5 MOUs as a matter of fact, with Malta. Eminent among these MOUs was an MOU on tourism promotion to form a partnership and collaboration between these two countries to promote investment into the tourism industry. As we speak, that MOU has not been tabled to Parliament for ratification, even for the benefits intended to be actualized. If you have obtained briefing on these MOUs, can you assure the committee of what urgent steps you will take to bring this MOU and any other related beneficial MOU that is pending ratification so that Parliament can ratify and for the intended benefits to be operationalized?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. When I'm given the opportunity by this August committee, I want to assure the House that that MOU and other MOUs and such arrangements will be looked into and make sure that we speed up and bring it to Parliament for ratification and for implementation. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, the Ministry of Tourism and Creative Arts has a campaign to promote See Ghana, Eat Ghana, Wear Ghana, Feel Ghana, just to promote Made in Ghana goods, to participate in Made in Ghana goods. Now we are promoting tourism, but whilst tourism flourishes in our country, you realize that we are rather promoting foreign culture with regards to what we eat. If you move from one hotel to another during lunchtime, you realize that all meals that have been served is perfume rice from foreign countries as against our local rice. So if it is laudable to promote See Ghana, Eat Ghana, and so on and so forth, what are you going to do practically to ensure that Ghanaians develop taste, develop interest in what we produce locally so that we can patronage it to support tourism in our country?
Thank you, Chairman. In most of our hotels, as you said, it's a lot of foreign food. From our research, we've been told the big star hotels, 3-star, 4-star, 5-star, that they are trying to develop a recipe menu. There's no recipe menu on Ghanaian dishes. So when given the nod, we're going to help them. They've started something to develop a recipe menu so I can use that in the Ghanaian big hotels. And like I said, we need to do more engagement with the private sector and to do a lot of promotions to make sure that Ghanaians appreciate and eat our food, wear our clothes, feel Ghana, and then market Ghana. It's a collaboration between the public, between the ministry and the various stakeholders to let you appreciate. We don't only do it among adults, we also want to go down to the schools. We want to give in tourism, arts, and cultural education, together with the Ministry of Education, in the various schools. We want to send tourism, arts, education, and cultural education there. One of the things we want to do, Mr. Chairman, is to promote the reading of news in local languages. Most of our children, we speak to them in English. They can't speak their local languages. We think that if you want to institute a reading competition between the ages of 10 and 18 across the country, that they can start reading news and enacting plays in our local language as part of efforts. Because our culture is us, it's our language, it's what we eat and what we wear. So one step that we'll do, one given a nod, is to encourage our young people, a regular annual interregional competition for our people, our children between the ages of 10 to 18, to read news in a local language, for which we give them prizes and awards. And want to urge Parliament to support it in it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, when the nominee is given the nod, his ministry will be responsible for maintaining tourist sites and discovering new ones to develop them. Recently, a waterfall was found in Bonzan, a community called Bonzan, in the Jaboso district. Developing it has become a problem because of lack of resources. What will you do to ensure that that waterfall that has been discovered in Bonzan will be developed to add up to the several waterfalls that we have in the country, to also rake in some revenue for the state?
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. As we indicated, we need to maintain the old sites and to add on. We need to improve tourism visitation and tourism revenue in this country. So I want to assure you that we would look at all that, and I also want to urge you that wherever you find such attractions, please draw our attention so that together we can develop those sites for tourist attractions and for investment. Thank you.
Honourable Member for Ablekuma West. Now I got it right.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And congratulations, Honourable Awal. I believe that having just been the Minister for Business Development, you see the business potential of our tourism sector even better than anyone else. And so, if given the nod, I have no doubt that you would transform that sector to be one of the highest revenue earners in this country. To be able to do that, we need to maximize the benefit that we get from our tourist sites. How are you going to work to preserve our tourist sites? I've been to Pagrant's house, which is over 100 years old, in Axim. And the trees growing through that house, almost next door to it is the first bank in West Africa. That is also without a roof. But the locals know that these are historical sites. And so they will tell you that this is what is there. We also have many or more forts and castles than anywhere else in Africa, I believe. And yet they are all in serious states of disrepair. And it's not even attractive to visit them and to even learn the history behind those tourist sites. What would you do? One, to preserve those tourist sites. Two, to step up the education and awareness creation about the existence of those sites and their relevance to our history. All in an attempt to spare more interest in visiting and knowing about those sites.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. As indicated, when I'm given the nod by this Honourable House, we intend to increase tourism visitation from 1.1 million visitors, which has been the highest, to an average of 1.5 to 2 million visitation every year. We want tourism, arts, and culture to be number one contributor to our GDP. The GTA has already started working on tourist facilities. We have 29 museums and forts in this country. And with forts and castles, 29 forts and castles and 8 museums in this country. The GTA has started a program to rehabilitate all those forts and castles, to bring them to speed. We're also trying to look at the tourist receptive facilities around all those places to make them attractive. When given the nod, Mr. Chairman, we will again look at them and package them properly. Ghana has some of the best tourist facilities in the world. We need to package them, bring them up to speed, and then use the media, both local and international media, to sell those facilities. Already under the World Bank program, we've engaged CNN, and it's doing a lot of promotion for us. We also have to look at within Africa. Nigeria is an important destination in terms of tourist attractions. USA is number one, followed by Nigeria. So we want to be able to make sure that we package this media, not just on CNN, also that within African media and Ghanaian media, make them attractive to get the necessary tourists in this country. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, during the time of Honorable Jacob Echabilamte, may his soul rest in peace, and Ferdinand Eyim, may his soul also rest in peace, they had a program around the World Tourism Day celebrations, a week-long program where they took journalists and marketed it to interested people to come along, and they would plan a whole itinerary. You visit various sites, accommodation, transportation, everything is a package deal, is paid for. It is through that program that my children learned to see every part of the country and follow the Salaga slave route, Tanobuaso rock caves, Kintampo waterfalls, Bobri butterfly sanctuary, and various other places. And very close to Accra is the Shai Hills Forest Reserve, which is a world away from the hustle and bustle of Accra. As you're thinking about promoting domestic tourism, I'd urge this program upon you to reactivate it and see how the ministry can take the lead, working with private tour operators to open up our country so that our children can learn about the very beautiful country that we have and our wonderful heritage as well. It's been done before. This was about 20 years ago, but it worked brilliantly. And I'm sure many of the journalists who were on those tours would still remember them brilliantly. I went feeding the monkeys in Wabing, Fiema, and it's an experience I'll never forget. We have an extraordinarily beautiful country, but many of us don't even know about it. We travel for funerals. We don't take the time to see the world around us because we don't know what's available there. And so even publicizing those sites is one major way of stirring up interest in the sector. And so I'd urge you to look through the books of the ministry and reactivate this program, this excellent program as well. And there are very innovative tour operators around who can also package a similar thing. So would you give us the assurance that you look into reactivating this and other similar programs to showcase the beautiful country that we have?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to assure that we will activate it and more. We want to do a program around Ghana. GT is already doing something. We want to do around Ghana in 10 days. This involves encouraging Ghanaians, children, adults, corporate businesses, entities, to see Ghana within 10 days. We want to do that with the private sector, hotel owners, travel and tour agencies. We have 500 tour guides in this country. We want to retrain them so that they can master the arts of all the cultural sites and their history. Besides that, we're going to put up a lot of more tourist attractions around the country to encourage people. So we have a route around Ghana in 10 days. And within those places too, it's not just about the physical things they see. Our music, our drama, our dancing, All are very important as a package. As I said again, we cannot have a successful tourism promotion without an effective cultural and artistic displays in this country. So for me, tourism, arts, and culture are intertwined. They have to ride on each other. So I want to assure you that we'll go back to that and even add, even increase it to make sure that Ghanaians know Ghana through tourism, arts, and culture. And that can cement national unity, national cohesion, and redistribution of income again from urban to rural areas. Thank you.
Talking about, as a follow-up to the answer you just gave, talking about promoting arts and culture, as has been stated in some of the questions that were asked earlier, we seem to be consuming more foreign culture than we do our own, mainly because one, either as parents, we're not educating our children about our own uniqueness and what binds us together as Ghanaians. Makes us uniquely Ghanaian and makes us stand out from the rest of the continent and the world in which we live. What are you going to do to promote education about what makes us unique? Now, even our own arts and cultures are not, and sculptures, paintings, are not appreciated by ourselves. It's foreigners who come here and enjoy it more than we do because we kind of take it for granted. And so even opening our eyes about what we have and what we take for granted, the furniture we use, the traditional furniture we used to have, which we also look down upon. When people are renovating their homes, they throw out hardwood furniture and go and buy chipboard furniture. And I keep asking myself, what's wrong with us? You know, it is something that we need to appreciate as individuals so that we can pass on that knowledge to our children and make it. If you go to Japan, it is part and parcel of their upbringing that they teach them kimono wearing, what makes their own food unique, and even the geishas, hairstyles, and all of that. It's a whole package. So what are we going to do to promote what makes us uniquely Ghanaian and pass on that love for what makes us uniquely Ghanaian to our children and to generations yet unborn? And that should be one of the main activities that you undertake.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, Ghana, one of the unique selling positions of Ghana is our rich cultural heritage, our music, our dance, our folklore. We will pay more attention to the development of this sector. Like I said earlier, we cannot have an effective tourism drive without strengthening our arts and cultural basis. As I indicated earlier, already we are securing 50 million cedis, if given the nod, to support players in the creative art industry. That will help them build their competencies. We're also going to ensure that we have the National Arts and Culture Festival, an annual Arts and Culture Festival from across the regions to Accra to make it a national event. There will be regional ones and national ones. Also, we're going to set up, as I said before, when given the opportunity by this August House, a national studio to develop a mini-series, a $20 million national studio to develop mini-series for the country. Because the content we have, as I said, is all foreign. When we develop it, we also want to work with this house, and I want to play this house that would soon come with, for you to help us, that prime time on television stations work along with the private media, and for the media house, 70% of content should be local, between 7 and 10 p.m. prime times, and then further. But to be able to do that, we also have the local content. So the studios help develop the music, the films, and make Ghana attractive and the music and film hub of West Africa. When we do that, we're not going to guarantee jobs and resources. We're going to build our culture and make sure that our children grow up with the culture that we inherited from our great-great-grandparents. I want to assure the House that with your support, this is what we intend to do. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, the cost of hotel accommodation is one of the main factors which militate against the growth of the domestic tourist industry. In Ghana, hotel accommodation is very expensive. What would you do to work with the private sector to reduce the price so it's more affordable for people to be able to move out of their homes? Even during COVID, I'm sure many people feel cooped up. So if they were assured of a facility that will enable them to get some break and where all the protocols would be observed and it was affordable, they would go. I know there are hotels in this country that are fully booked, even during this season. So if we were to encourage more domestic tourism and make it more affordable, more people would take advantage of that. How are you going to work with the private sector to ensure that, despite the challenges of the pandemic, we can still open up our country sufficiently to enable more people take advantage of the little breaks that we need to make us all stay safe?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have about 50,000 rooms in our hotels in this country. We need a minimum of 150,000 rooms. So the cost of the hotels is a demand and supply factor. But in terms of domestic tourism, as I indicated, when given the nod by this August committee, what we intend to do is to engage with the private sector, with the hotels, that there's a captive market for you. We intend to get 1 million people, Ghanaians, going around Ghana every year in terms of domestic tourism. And for that to happen, we engage the private hotels to give us a cut in terms of pricing, so that can encourage Ghanaians to travel around the country. Thank you.
Honorable Susan.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Honorable nominee, in an earlier answer to a question posed, you made a firm commitment to protect the various heritage sites that we have and tourist sites that we have. Are you aware that the tourist site known as the Accra Falls in the eastern region, ahead of the 2020 election, was turned into a kind of training camp for the national security?
No, Mr. Chairman.
All right, as a follow-up, I am giving you that as an information. Would you be willing to investigate that? And would you be willing, when approved, to investigate that and take steps to recover that site for the tourism industry?
Please, not the hotel again. The hotel, the name, please.
The name is the Accra Falls, AKAA Falls. It's in the eastern region. Yes. And the question is, would you be willing to investigate that and possibly take steps to preserve that site for the industry?
Please, allow. Yes, Honorable Minister. Honorable Minister, kindly answer the question.
Mr. Chairman, we will take steps to ensure that hotels are functioning effectively.
Actually, he said a waterfall. Is it a property belonging to the Ministry of Tourism? Are you aware?
Mr. Chairman, I'm not aware. I would find out, Mr. Chairman.
All right, so I think my intention is to draw your attention so that when confirmed, you can take steps to recover that site for the ministry. Now, the second question is that about some 600 million Ghana cedis was shared as a COVID aid, and I'm aware that about 300,000 small businesses received these grants. Are you aware how many of these businesses were in tourism, and whether you know the criteria by which they got that grant?
Mr. Chairman, I'm aware some operators in the tourism sector got how many of them, I don't know.
So what step would you take to ensure that the World Bank grant for ecotourism is fairly distributed among all industry players?
Sorry, question again?
I'm saying that there is a World Bank grant for ecotourism. I'm asking what steps would you take to ensure fair distribution of this grant for all players in the industry?
So, Sean, we ensure that the right thing is done equitably. Thank you.
My very final question has to do with Ghana's ranking by the World Travel and Tourism, by the World Economic Forum. Now, according to the World Economic Forum, Ghana ranked 115th in the 2019 World Travel and Tourism Competitiveness Annual Rankings. And Ghana is 15th in Africa, says the report. And as we speak now, countries like Zambia, Namibia, and Zimbabwe have all passed Ghana in this ranking. What would you do to improve Ghana's ranking in this in tourism in the international space?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As indicated, tourism is a function of arts and culture. We have a comprehensive plan to improve upon our arts and culture, our tourism facilities, so we can improve both domestic and international tourism. So I want to assure the House that when given the opportunity, we'll have a package that will enable 1 million Ghanaians do domestic tourism. We'll make sure that tourism sites around the country are improved, new ones even discovered. We'll also ensure that at least, as indicated, 1.5 million people visit this country every year. That will certainly improve our tourist visitation and our tourist ranking. Thank you.
Yeah, so in connection, it's a quick follow-up. In connection with building of the structures, upon your nomination, I think there was this perception out there, and that was shared by some people in the entertainment industry. For example, Ola Michael said that Awal's appointment as tourism minister is disappointing because he doesn't have the capacity to build the structures. What would you say to this allegation out there, or this perception out there?
Sorry, don't answer. Somebody's view of you is not necessary.
But it's out there. So
if you have your own view, ask him.
Right.
Anyone here? Yes, Eric.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, one of the tourist potentials we have in our country is the rich forest. I know the big tree, the biggest tree in Ghana, happens to be the biggest tree in West Africa. Do you know the location of this tree and how developed is that area for tourist purposes?
Honorable Minister, do you know where it is?
No, Mr. Chairman, I don't know.
Mr. Chairman, I asked this very important question because the biggest tree in Ghana here happens to be the biggest in the whole West Africa, and it's located in the Akim Odan forest. A lot of people have been going there for tourism. That is why the tourist minister must know and develop the area so that Ghana can make some.
Can you ask your next question?
Who nominee? It's good you have been very fair, you have been candid to the committee. You don't know, it is located in Akomoda. So it is an area that you have to look at to see what can be done to develop the area for tourism. Now my second question has to do with the 96,000 jobs you claim you have created within the last 4 years. You said you have created 96,000 jobs. Can you share with the committee the specifics in terms of the jobs that you have created? Because reading from the 2019 budget, specifically paragraph 701. You trained some entrepreneurs and provided them with some support. And you stated that it is expected that each of these entrepreneurs will create a minimum of 2 jobs. Will create a minimum of 2 jobs. So after training them and provided them with some funds, you thought that they were going to create 2 jobs, 2 jobs, 2 jobs. Probably the aggregation of that gave you the 96,000 jobs we are talking about. That is why I'm asking of the specifics.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, we trained 45,000 under the Presidential Business Support Program. We trained 45,000 young entrepreneurs and funded over 9,000 of them with sums ranging between 5,000 and 100,000 cedis each. Mr. Chairman, we're expecting, one of the discussions we had with them was that minimum of two jobs, minimum. Mr. Chairman, as I said now, many of them have created even 20 jobs. As at before the pandemic, most of them had even created 20 jobs per person. It's not just about the funding, it's also about the capacity we build them. You see, when we meet young entrepreneurs, what we do is to find out their most important business model. And some of them, it's not about money. It's about capacity building in finance. It's about building their capacity in different things such as finance, such as marketing, such as branding, such as insurance. So the training we give them expands their horizon, gives the ability to employ people. So while some have created 2 jobs, others have created more than 10 jobs. And then if you train 45,000 people and then funded some of them, if even 45,000 should employ even 2 people, 4,000 people who have been for the training, we're talking about 90,000 jobs already. And after that, we've funded 9,000 plus. So it's not a minimum, it's a minimum of 2 jobs, and not an average, not a maximum of 2 jobs. So it's been created. And we have names of businesses that are there to see. We have their names and their locations that can see that they've created jobs, including persons with disability. There's a woman with disability doing fish, one doing cocoa and kose. When we gave her the money, the cocoa and kose in Accra here, she's employing 11 people. The one doing fish and tema, she's erected she's got a fish cold store, and she's got about 13 people. So it's a minimum of 2 jobs, and not a maximum of that. Thank you.
You are counting the number of jobs you have created. You talk about those employed at the cold stores that you have supported. These people have also been counted. They have been counted as part of the jobs created in the fisheries industry. Are we not double counting these numbers? Because you know that in the fisheries industry, they also look at the number of people that they have engaged in the whole process, from harvesting to consumption. That is what they do. And in fact, when you look at the figures, they indicate to us that right from harvesting of fish to consumption, they employ about 2.5, 2.6 million people in this country. Now that includes those who deal with the cold stores. But you have also counted them. That will eventually give us a very huge number because of this double counting that I'm talking about. Is that not correct?
We're not dealing with the fishing sector. We have agribusiness, we have media, we have trade and commerce, etc. So it's not just the fishing sector. We have more than 10 subsectors, Mr. Chairman. So our figures are correct, Mr. Chairman.
And you said kose, those who sell kose to you have given them jobs. Is that what you said? No, he said that. He said porridge and kose. He mentioned it. He was specific.
He said they supported a disabled woman who was making cocoa, and that woman has employed 11 more. Yes, Honorable Patricia PJ.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Congratulations, Honorable Vice Friend. We've been having a very broad discussion about how to improve on the tourism sector. Can you hear me? We've been having a very broad discussion on how to improve on the tourism sector. But what I want specifically from you is that, in your view, what are the major selling points for Ghana tourism sector in the next 4 years so that you may occupy the seat as a minister for that sector? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ghana has so many attractive elements that can make it one of the best tourism destinations in the world. Mr. Chairman, Ghana is at the center of the world. It's the only unique center of the world that the world has. Our festivals are very rich. Our culture, our dances, our music. And Ghana is very stable in terms of political stability in West Africa. So we are politically stable. We have rich culture in terms of music, art, dance, sculpture. And then we also have a lot of forts and castles. As I said, 28 forts and castles in this country, more than many other places around the world, and 8 museums. So these are unique selling points as a tourist destination. Thank you.
A follow-up, please. I agree with you. We have all these physical edifices. But one of the things that we shouldn't lose sight of is our sanitation, our water supply, our road networks. What I want to ask is that, how are you going to collaborate? You know, it's all inclusive, it's a multi-sectoral nature. There is the need to have a very good collaboration with all the other sectors that can assist to enhance most of these selling points that we need. How are you? Do you have a deliberate strategy to look at that issue?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, tourism, arts and culture is multi-sectorial. Today, we want to even digitize most of our tourist sites, so that we need to collaborate with the Ministry of Communications. Roads tourist sites have to be improved with Ministry of Transport, Roads and Highways. Attorney General's Office, we need to do that. Ministry of Finance, even Foreign Affairs. When we intend to send our drummers and creative artists outside to perform, we need our collaboration. So we intend to build an effective intersectoral collaboration, ministerial collaboration, to enhance Ghana's tourist destination and improve upon our tourist sites. Thank you.
Thank you. My last question is, how do you plan to enhance tourism promotion at our airports? You agree with me that the first experience of every traveler is at the airport. And like most other countries, they try to exhibit the cultures and the kind of activities or centers to take people through what to expect within there. I don't think we have it in our airport. So how do you plan to do that? Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. The airports are very important entry points into this country. The Chairman, when given the nod, we also plan to do a lot of promotion and signages at the airport. And the hotels, Mr. Chairman, since we want to make Ghana a tourist attractive destination, all our inscriptions, our signages at the airports and the hotels are in English. We intend to also add at least French to the signages at various airports and entry points, and build a lot more tourist information centers around the country to give visitors a lot of tourist information. So most hotels owners work with the private sector to ensure that their signages and inscriptions in their hotels are also French and English to attract more tourists from the West African Francophone areas. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, maybe I should go on to this one. The movie industry is not only popular, but prosperous. all over the world, you find people in there, especially in America and other advanced countries, you find them to be very rich people. But the Ghanaian situation is the opposite. When given the law, what would you do differently to make the industry think, to get more people interested in our movie industry? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I indicated earlier that if given the opportunity by this Honorable House, we intend to set up a studio, a modern movie and music studio to make Ghana the hub of movie and creative arts in West Africa. We've gone very far with about $20 million facility to make it. The movie will help us to create mini-series and create local content, Ghanaian movies, so that that can also help enrich our culture and make our children and the generations yet to come interesting. Like I said, when tourists come to this country, an exit interview showed that they spend only 15% of their money on entertainment, because they don't have enough of local content. So we think that they can spend up to 30–40% of their resources on living. So we intend to set up a studio, film studio, to make Ghana an attractive hub for films in the South region that can help produce local movies and enrich our culture and our heritage. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, Honorable Nominee. I have two questions. The first one is to do with your previous portfolio. You are moving from the Business Development Ministry to a new portfolio, and I want you to share with this House. You would agree with me that the SMEs form the bulk of the businesses around here and actually help to grow the economy. I want you to tell this House how you leverage your experience from the Business Development Ministry to help grow the SMEs in the art and culture industry within the tourism ministry. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. SMEs are 80% of businesses in this country. Ghana has about 2.3 million SMEs, and the tourism, arts, and culture sector has a lot of them. At Ministry of Business Development, we have to build an ecosystem that encourages young people to build businesses for themselves. Mr. Chairman, Ghana, 250,000 people out of our tertiary institutions every year. Very few of them are able to get jobs. So we're able to build an ecosystem that encourages young people to own their own jobs and to be job creators. When given the nod, Mr. Chairman, we intend to replicate this at the tourism sector, where we can train young people and also give them resources to stand on their own. And women are very important. 56% of tourist players are women. At Minister of Business Development, we had a special package for women, growing women to own business and to survive. Most of them are just nursery entrepreneurs. We need to take them from being nursery entrepreneurs to opportunity entrepreneurs so that they can expand and employ more people. So the experience is that build an ecosystem that enables young people, especially women and youth, to be able to build their own businesses and employ people and then make the tourist sector tick. That's our intent to leverage.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My second question is to do with the tourism sites directly. There is a beautiful confluence of the Volta Lake around Akamade Nkwanta in the Salaga South constituency. Having used that river on many of my tours, I get the impression that it has a lot of tourism potential, and so it's being underutilized. Of course, it will come with providing infrastructure, hotels, and I don't know if it will be of interest to you to pay attention to the Volta Lake and see how we can leverage its advantages to increase the tourism potential of this country. Tied to that is, of course, the slave markets, the slave dams in Salaga itself. And Madam Honorable Patricia made the point about infrastructure. These tourism sites don't exist in isolation. You know, if you want to, for example, promote the Salaga trade market, it's going to be a Herculean task for you because the road to Salaga is not good. You get to Salaga, electricity fluctuations is a problem. So getting a good hotel where people can stay becomes a challenge. So how will you collaborate with all these other ministries that will help facilitate the promotion of some of these beautiful tourism sites that have been left to deteriorate? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As said earlier, tourism, arts, and culture is an integrated sector. It's interministerial, and we need interministerial collaboration. It's a very important point, and when given a nod, I would work with you. Here I can develop the place. But we need all the sectors in the country: roads, energy, finance, attorney general, environment, lands and natural resources. So I can assure you that I'm going to work collaboratively with my colleagues, if given a nod, to improve not only the old existing tourist sites, but even to look for new ones and improve upon them for tourist attractions in this country. Thank you.
Yes, John.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I wish to congratulate my boss and to thank His Excellency the President for giving him this special role at the Ministry of Tourism, because he's been appointed at a time that that ministry needs creativity and innovation to become very competitive. When he was even the Minister for Business Development, he was doing more than tourism and selling Ghana. I remember one of our trips to Germany when we met the Westphalian Parliament in Cologne. You gave each of the Committee on Foreign Affairs members, you gave each one of them a special kente from Ghana. When we got to the Bundestag Parliament in Berlin, you gave the Special Committee on Foreign Affairs a special kente from Ghana. And I believe that you are going to promote Ghana kente, especially the Bonyere kente, and make it a special heritage in our dealings with other parts of the world. I just want to thank my boss for his mentorship. I don't have any question. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, Honorable Nominee, you're welcome. Let me take you home. I'm happy you have spoken eloquently about domestic tourism, something I also agree with earlier questioners that we must pay attention to, because it enables many to know our country well. And so when they have opportunities to take decisions, they take those decisions based on their correct understanding of our country, because we tend to have a lot of people, in my view, in decision-making across the country who don't know beyond the three major cities, Accra, Kumasi, and Takoradi. So I think that is something you must pay attention to. But you and I come from Northern region. So we know that when they talk of the Mole Park, it is now in Savannah. When they talk of the Salga slave, it's now in Savannah too. Even that's what I'm saying, we know. Some people think it's not. We know it's not, because there's a difference. When they talk of the Paga Pond, it is in the Upper East region. Some people don't know that. It is not to everybody. In fact, this morning I got a message from somebody who was drawing my attention to a woman who is suffering in Upper East, and he wants me to, lead the charge. And it's all based on that misunderstanding of our country and the locations. So, for me, the Mole Dagbon have had a long history, Moshis and Dagombes especially. In my constituency in Kamveli, almost every Moshi across the world, and Kamveli is just opposite your family house too.
Almost every Moshi around the world knows about Kamveli. Recently, making rounds in the community, I was told of where the popular Moshi man was buried, which has led to that tradition or belief that Moshis cannot sleep over in Kamveli. Unfortunately, it had been destroyed. They can't sleep in Kamveli. They cannot sleep in Kamveli. They can't pass the night there. Yes, that's a traditional belief. The popular Moshiman who was buried there, where that notion started, they showed me the place. Unfortunately, the grave. Unfortunately, it has been sealed, and someone has put the house on it now, and all of that. So, I want you to assure this committee that when you become a minister, you will hunt in the northern region some of this underdeveloped, in the northern region, some of these underdeveloped sites in the northern region that will promote tourism, which will eventually lead to eradication, if not reduction, of rural poverty.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to assure the honorable member that I'll have to work with honorable members here, not only to preserve tourist sites and locations, but to unearth new ones across the country, particularly in the northern region. Thank you. I want to assure you that.
Now, professionals in the creative arts industry have also been asking for an enhanced arts center. Growing up, I recall the activities we used to undertake at the existing cultural center, which is now almost a death trap. No activity really takes place there now. In the Northern Region Cultural Center, thank you, Arts Center, Tamale. We used to have events only at the Picona Gardens. It was one of the popular event centers. Today, most events are organized at the stadium, the Kaladan, not the Kaladan, the Aliu Muhammad Stadium. That is where most events are hosted. Now, professionals in the creative arts industry have been calling for an enhanced arts center or a special sitting theater in the north. What will be your efforts in that direction to provide one?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. There have been efforts to rehabilitate or provide Center for Cultures across the country. That of Koforidua, I'm told, has been completed. Kumasi is ongoing. When given the opportunity by this August committee, we will finish the one in Tamale. We'll renovate it. I know they all played there when we were kids. It's an important location that we can use to promote our arts and culture in the northern region. Tamale and Takrady are on the drawing board, which we'll be able to finish in the shortest possible period, and improve upon other such facilities around the country to promote our indigenous culture. Thank you. I want to assure that it's something I'll take up seriously.
This may also be an assurance because you haven't been there. There's this company known as Pro Race Company. I don't know if it is Recce or Race, but it is spelled P-R-O-R-E-C-E. Pro Race Company Limited. It was paid an amount of 1.2 million Ghana cedis to construct a number of toilet facilities in Greater Accra, Bessie, and Elmina, and then also 2 units, 3 units, and another 3 units at Cape Coast, Lower Axim, Upper Axim, respectively. And the completion dates for this project were supposed to be March 2019. As we speak, the report is that no work has been done, but they have been paid fully to do this, and this is under the ministry. What will you do about the need for these projects to be completed once you get the nod?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm sure we should have a file at the ministry. I'll look into it and make sure that the right thing is done, but also be grateful if I found the details from you so I can take it up when I'm given the nod by this committee. Thank you.
I thank you.
Yes, Sammy.
Most grateful, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I would like to raise the matter of an opportunity that we don't seem to be exploring aggressively these days. Following, and this, came to mind following the announcement last week by the iconic musician Stevie Wonder that he intends to relocate to Ghana because he believes that as an African, he will be valued, he will be more respected, and he will feel more at home. And he doesn't want his children and grandchildren growing up in the United States, which is still grappling with institutional racism. In our Immigration Act, the Immigration Act of 2000, Act 573, I don't know if the Honorable Nominee has averted his mind to that act. Under Section 17(1)(b), the law provides that a minister in consultation with the President can grant citizenship to a person of African descent in the diaspora. And this has been in our Immigration Act since the 1960s. President Nkrumah used it quite skillfully. He attracted W.E.B. Du Bois, Julian Bond, Marcus Garvey. They all relocated. Those were the days that Ghana was referred to as Black Mecca. And you saw a lot of, African greats like Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Muhammad Ali, all of them journeying to Ghana, a pilgrimage of a sort. So this is beyond just year of return or beyond a return. This is granting citizenship and attracting them permanently to come and live with us, invest, and be part of our growth as a people. Senegal is attracting a lot of them these days. You see what Akon is doing, the Akon City, a $6 billion investment. Ludacris is also on a big investment in Gabon. He's been granted citizenship in Gabon. How do you intend to go back to this tradition we've had, the Pan-African rich tradition that Kwame Nkrumah started, with the opportunity that the Ghana Immigration Act, Section 17(1)(b) provides, the right of abode? How do you intend to skillfully use this to attract many more Stevie Wonders to come back home and to invest and live with us more permanently, beyond PanaFest and year of return, just visiting and going back? I'm referring to a more permanent, granting them citizenship, the right of abode opportunity that we have in our laws. Have you averted your mind, and policy-wise, how do you intend to pursue this path?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yes, the year return, which is a 10-year project, would help. Thank you for this opportunity. But the Homeland Return Act is also another important step towards that. Under this Homeland Return Act, we are encouraging Africans in the diaspora, all Africans, because this is their home. Ghana is the home of Africans in the diaspora. Under the Homeland Return Act, we are encouraging them and their children to come and stay here permanently and make it their home. If given the nod by this august body, Mr. Chairman, we want to engage Rwanda to be an ambassador for us, to fetch more people with expertise, with skills, and with competence, and then money. The most important thing is to bring in their money to invest in Ghana and create jobs and wealth for our people. We want to do that. Thank you so much.
Mr. Chairman, my second question will focus on the creative arts. I hold in my hands the MPP manifesto of 2016 at page 172. The New Patriotic Party promised that we will pursue the construction of modern, large sitting theaters in every regional capital except Accra, beginning from Takoradi, Tamale, and Kumasi. From your briefing, have you received a status update on this promise? And is it a promise that the creative arts industry can still rely on? And what are your plans generally for the creative arts sector?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I've been briefed. The Takoradi Theatre, Cape Kofrida Theatre has been done. There's the ongoing one in Kumasi. When given the opportunity, Mr. Chairman, we would have to fulfill work on the Tamale and Takoradi ones. But beyond all, Mr. Chairman, we plan to set up a studio, as I indicated earlier, a modern studio that will make Ghana the hub for films and creative arts in general. We've gone very far. When given the opportunity by this august body, this is one of the early things we'll do, to make Ghana the hub for film and other creative activities.
Chairman, if the Honorable Ablakwa will permit me, I'll take a bite of his cherry. Honorable Alhaji Awal, have you noticed what the Honorable Ablakwa is wearing? What he's wearing? You want to look at what Honorable Ablakwa is wearing? What he's wearing? Respond, Chairman, let him respond.
Honorable, speak to your mic.
I've noticed it.
What, you've noticed what he's wearing?
Yes, I have.
What is it? What is it in Dagbani and in English? And what will you do about it?
Bungma and then smoke.
What will you do about it to promote? You see, it's culturally diversifying. And I'm doing so because the Honorable Tampule may be putting you in some trouble of a sort. Because he said, Anya Kumbo Nabia, you are royal of Kumbongo. So I'm going to borrow the hat of Honorable Member for Tolong, so that you teach us the culture. If a black one was to wear the hat to the right, what does it mean? To the left, what does it mean? So that when chairman is in Tamale or in Kumbungu, he will not wear his hat in a manner that can provoke the Kumbuna. You want to take Honorable Habib's hat and demonstrate what you do with it. If there is trouble, blame Tampule. He said you are a royal.
Very well. If we give him the nod, he'll take the advantage and teach us on national television.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. COVID has brought a lot of restrictions to us. So in the post-COVID era, the chairman, I'll support and help promote the smoke and how it is worn across the country. Thank you.
In fact, I was looking out for Honorable Brani Champion. The one he's been wearing, I would love to have some. It's beautiful. Those ones, they should be available around here, so we can take them. Very beautiful.
Yeah, Leader, thank you for commending my smoke. I'll be looking forward to more supplies. So by way of follow-up, the creative arts industry, should they expect you to pursue this pledge? You couldn't fulfill it in your first term, but are you still committed to it? That's what I want to know. The large sitting theaters in every regional capital. Is the New Patriotic Party, the Akufo-Addo administration, still committed to this pledge? It appears, listening to you carefully, your focus is on a $20 million studio. But that is different from this promise of a large sitting theater in every regional capital. Are you still committed to that pledge?
If so, we are still committed. When films are produced, they need outlets. So in addition to the studio, we need to have these theaters so that the movies can be shown. That's where the artists get their monies from. Thank you. We are still committed to it.
Mr. Chairman, finally, I want to take the nominee back to his previous life as Minister for Business Development. I have intercepted tons of documents related to a contract with the African SME Organization Limited. I perused your handing over notes carefully, but surprisingly, it didn't feature at all. I didn't see it in your handing over notes. I have here letters to the Chief of Staff, to the President, the Finance Minister, Central Tender Review Committee. If Chairman will permit me to read one of these letters, October 2nd, 2017, from your Chief Director, Joe Taki, to the Managing Director, Africa SME Organization. Attention, Mr. Yasamoah. Dear Sir, Awal Consultancy Services as private sector implementation partner for the National Entrepreneurship and Innovation Plan. In response to your expression of interest, your consultancy services as private sector implementation partner for the National Entrepreneurship and Innovation Plan, we are pleased to inform you that your proposal has been carefully reviewed and your bid for this project has been accepted. Having reviewed tenders from high-quality companies and organizations, following our PSIP requests for expression of interest dated July 20, 2017, we have concluded that Africa SME Organization proposed plan best matches the needs of the National Entrepreneurship and Innovation Plan under the Ministry of Business Development. Please contact the undersigned as soon as possible for further discussions on the above, leading to the signing of the final agreement. We congratulate the Africa SME Organization, signed Joe Taki. The contention of the Africa SME Organization is that after winning the tender, you and our good friend, they did mention the Honorable John Kuma, just shoved them aside. And Ghana intends incurring a 5 million Ghana Citi judgment debt, which appears to be a legacy you may be leaving behind at your ministry. Do you care to comment on this matter? It appears a petition was sent to the President, but there has been no response.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, the matter is in court, and I'll humbly beg to, it's in court, Mr. Chairman.
But you know about it.
Why does it not feature in the handover notes? Why are you totally silent? This is a very important issue, potential 5 million Ghana Citi judgment debt.
The matter is in court. It was in court, Mr. Chairman.
Do you know about it? Of course, you say it's in court. It means you know about it. All right.
Some way.
That means the activity and the transaction which is being contested in court, do you know about it?
Mr. Chairman, I'm aware about it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Very well. Honorable Muntaka, now, my leadership is not here now. So.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I just want to find out from the nominee. Yes, as he said, it's in court, but why has it not found expression in the handover note?
Mr. Chairman, I don't have my handover notes here. I can't talk comment too much about this.
Okay, but the handover note was signed off by you.
Yes.
But you can't recollect that this was part of the issues that you asked that is properly documented, so that at least in future everybody who is to be responsible for that sector will know that this is pending. You can't remember that that is in there.
Remember.
So if it is not in it, will you want maybe after this vetting to relook at
the handover notes for possible amendment to include this, because since it has to be part of the records of the ministry that you are living.
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
I know you are still the present representative there. Currently, you are the present representative. So until you are finally sworn in, if this House approves of you, you are still the present representative there. So you may want to take steps to amend the handover notes to include this so that it will be part of the records.
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
So is that an assurance from you that this will be done?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman, on a lighter note, there's this belief from even the Gombes in the north that the people from Kumbung, like you and I, are hot-tempered. And sometimes when you start and say, Kumbung Halewa, which means the Kumbungu behavior is manifesting. Being a royal from Kumbung and having lived in Accra all this while, interacted with so many do you give some credence to this perception of generally people in the north, particularly the Gumbes, about the lack of you and I from Kumbungu?
Mr. Chairman, the Gumbes are known to be warriors of Dagong. We led in the colonial wars. We will have some bees there. We are our neighbors. Mr. Chairman, if a political committee is able to mix with bees, can imagine how warrior-like they will be. So I think we are maybe in trying to interpret us as warriors. They say we are hot-tempered. I think that we are just warriors and we are just strong-headed. We are not hot-tempered.
Well, is it you are troublesome?
No, strong-headed.
Strong-headed. Oh, but that's a compliment. The compliment. You know, in people see you to be abusive. Is that how you've also seen people perception about you in your whether private or public life?
Mr. Chairman, maybe we are being results-driven. When you are results-driven, you expect some behavior in terms of work culture. That might be interpreted, but we are just results-driven. We are not arrogant and quick-tempered.
Mr. Chairman, that's just by way of Kumbungu issues. Earlier in an answer about the tourism satellite account, I didn't get the answer correctly because what I knew was that this satellite account, the intention was to enable the Ministry of Tourism to have accurate and reliable data. So the thinking was to get immigration, the interagencies, immigration, Ghana Airport Company, and all the others in Bank of Ghana, in keeping proper data that government can put its hand on and say that in this year, this is what we've been able to make from the tourism industry. And I do remember that this was launched in 2016, but it looks like it's not been followed through. Is it something that you want to follow up just to ensure that we are able to get adequate and accurate data to help us take the right decisions within the industry?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Correct data is very important for planning. And since we want tourism to be number one compared to GDP, I want to assure the House, when given the nod, this is something I'll look into and ensure that all the players within the sector get accurate data for it. So we want to pursue that. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, he's repeatedly mentioned the $20 million studio. Studio. Where are you thinking you may want to cite it?
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, it needs we need a very large space. Accra might not be, we haven't found one in Accra yet. So we're looking to other regions. We've not decided that we're still consulting. So if we need a minimum of 10 acres.
Oh, but that's too small. Because I'm looking at, when you mentioned the studio, I got excited because I have visited I've been to California before, Hollywood, and the studio, and they tell you that how it started was small, but it kept expanding, and now it's virtually like a whole city by itself, and it attracts a lot of tourism. People go in, and some of the studios, they don't allow you to go in because of some restrictions, but in some others, they show you how they create the artificial rain, they create the artificial fire, and those things. So I hope that when you are going to do this, you have to be thinking deep into the future. I believe 10 acres is such a small place that if you are not careful, when the need for expansion comes, you may not be able to expand. But this, with regards to the 20 million, the intention is to be government funded or private funded?
It's going to be private funded. We want to look at the partnership with the private sector. And in addition to what you said, the studio, with all we don't have enough, the first phase is the minimum of 10 acre land. We want to look at, as you advise, we want to look much bigger than that. We need a 10 acre to do. So if we get maybe 15, 20, 30 acre plots, we'll start with it. But it's certainly a private sector funded.
Well, maybe back to the land. I noticed that when going to Ada, I noticed by the roadside, when heading towards Ada, to your right, I've seen some signboard, is it Ghana Film Industry or something? This land belongs to. It looks like they have some land, the Ghana Film Industry, the association. I've not gotten there. Is it Gollywood or something? And they have a sign post that indicated that this land is for them. And you see that it's a whole stretch. It's a private sector led. And because you said that this is going to be private sector led, will you want to engage them to see the possibility of using the already existing infrastructure that they have to further pursue this dream?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, we've started negotiations and we'll follow up on this. Thank you for that. We want to engage them.
Mr. Chairman, in an answer to an earlier question, he talks about 70% local content in most of the things that he may want to drive within the tourism industry. How do you intend to do this, knowing the difficulties that you may have, having in mind that you have said that you want it to be private-led? How will you be able to ensure the 70% local content in most of your activities?
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, if we have enough films being produced, Nigeria does an average of 50 films a week. Ghana is very difficult for us. So the studio will help us build the capacity of our people to produce movies and series. Once the content is available, it's very easy for us to enforce that. And we need to engage the private sector. The media houses are mostly private owned. So we need to engage them as part of their contribution. When the content is good, now what they do is to buy this soap operas, $500 from around the world. We are creating jobs for Mexican movies. If we build the capacity for our people, we're able to produce a lot of mini-series, a lot of movies, we're able to enforce and work together with relevant MFDAs to enforce that.
The reason why I'm asking this is that, as you may know, to be able to develop our own, to be able to get to the level that they can heavily participate, to help you achieve this 70%, it will require deliberate government intervention, not only in terms of policy, but also resources to be able to bring it up. You remember, the old days of By the Fireside, there was Fudazi, and some of them, because of trying to nurture our own, some of the activities that they may be carrying may not be that commercially profitable. So it will require not only policy intervention, but some limited resources towards that direction. So I want to get your assurance that this 70%, in my view, is a good thing, but how to achieve it is the challenge that you pursue to ensure that by the time we'll be taking off completely, we'll have what it takes to be able to participate to the 70%. Is that something that we can get assurance from you that
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman, also earlier when a question was asked about the several festivals across the country, yes, the answer, he said, oh, he will see what he will ensure. I heard you say you will ensure that we are able to put our festivals together to the benefit of the tourism industry. I just want to get a clear strategy that you adopt, because you know that the Damba Festival that is in the north comes around a certain time of the year. The Homo War comes around another time. Some of the festivals in Asante region, they all have their time. And sometimes if you don't look at them critically and try to see which ones can be linked together, it might become difficult. So I want to get a clear-cut strategy how you can get the tourism industry to benefit from these festivals that are time-bound.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We first have to have a comprehensive calendar of these festivals. Know which festival comes, which part of the month. When we do that, we also attract, as we indicated, we are going to intensify both domestic and international tourism. So at times that we have, whether it's Wetoto Festival or Damba or Homo, we target the domestic tourist movement to coincide with these festivals so that they're able to participate and learn from it. Then also the international tourism. We're going to satisfy you with that. So we'll have a calendar. Then we'll promote these festivals before and within this tourist movement. So first, have a calendar of it. Second, promote it. And then let it coincide with the movement of tourists within the domestically and internationally. This is the way we want to do it. And then once we promote it long ahead of the festival, we'll get people coming to participate in it and therefore get the maximum benefit from this festival. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, he also said he was thinking of a program that I heard him call Around Ghana in 10 Days, right? I know that this program was also in existence around 2013, where they say See Ghana. And like my colleague, Honorable Osla mentioned, even during President Kufuor, there was this other attempt to go through the whole country in 1 week. So it's not really a new thing. But have you checked what hindered its success that now you are mentioning to enable you to ensure that this time around, regardless of the name that you may give it, we may be able to sustain it and make it part of our daily life?
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. We intend to involve many more people to do the tourism. Like I said, we're going to involve school children. Very important for us. Institutions like Parliament, very important. Anytime you're on research, we can involve you. Corporate tourism, we want to structure it and make it more formal. To make it more formal, we get sponsorship from corporate institutions to support this. So instead of staying just 7 days, we'll stay a little more than 7 days. It's what we have, want to expand what's already existing, so that we have more people going and seeing Ghana to build national cohesion and ensuring that when they go, they're buying our local music in Tamale, in Ho, in Takrady, they're buying our smokes and kente. That's how I want to make it. So it's not just a slogan, but it's a reality. So we intend to package it better, make sure people stay in, go to and more.
Mr. Chairman, I just have two more. You know the actors, I'm talking about the art and culture, that's industry. They've had some perception over the years that when people are coming, they talk nicely, they smooth talk, and then once they get sworn in, then they simply rely on government funding which we all know may not flow very well. And then before then, all the enthusiasm in the incoming minister is lost. So it's like they don't seem to even be interested in who is coming. Can he or she really be able to carry us along? What are you going to do to sustain the interest and confidence of the actors in this industry so that they will be able to help you implement most of these strategies that you are thinking about?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I think the government has started something. National Folklore Board has been established to do an inventory of our cultural assets. At the Nkra Kente, National Film Authority has also been established. And very recently, the Parliament passed the Creative Art Bill. This will give way to the Creative Art Agency. When this agency is established, it will be the one in charge under the ministry to make sure that we improve, digitally and otherwise, to improve the fortune of the creative arts people. Also, the studio that we intend to establish. We don't have a modern studio in this country that helps in movies and other creative activities. That alone would help create an opportunity for artists, not only to produce movies, but also to do music. We need to make sure that we make the creative artists comfortable. They should be happy. We need to make them happy and rich. And I want them to support me. I'm a business-driven person, wanting results. So I'm going to bring that experience of business activity in the past to bear on the creative arts sector to make them, their works very, very, very effective and very successful. I can assure them of that, and assure the House.
Mr. Chairman, lastly, you know the Nauni River in Dolon? Nauni River in Dolon? Dolon, yeah. In your backyard, you know, it cuts across... Nauni. Yes, it cuts across a number of regions, and it has a very beautiful site. Will you consider developing it as one of the interesting sites that people could have boat riding and probably even hotels sited around that place?
Yes, Chairman, can I have assurance that we'll look at it very effectively? Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. The chairman has just drawn my attention to the fact that we've done 2 hours and the mandatory directive of the speaker have to be respected. But Mr. Nominee, you can take it that we are at the November of your vetting. Once I'm done and chairman comes in, he probably may excuse you. But just following up on a matter raised by the Honorable Okujeto Ablakwa, then followed through by the Honorable Muntaka. I have your handing over notes here, and in page 75, departments and agencies under the ministry. So probably you have to improve it. This is what is provided in the handing over. NEIP was launched by the President Nana Addo Dankwa with a seed capital of 10 million, which was expected to be scaled up to 100 million US dollars through the private sector implementation partner. So the Honorable Ablakwa was accurate when he drew your attention that your ministry probably engaged this private sector partner. I've read a brief from the court, and per Order 93, I don't intend to go into the merits of it, but it's important that your handing over notes captured the entirety of this transaction for the record. I mean, not just a bureaucracy. You talk about human life. Tomorrow you may not be there as minister. The state will have a duty to respond to this matter with adequate references. Now, taking you back to Kumbungu, you are a proud son of, I know Bumbiamna, I know Jirguna. Where do you fall within the context of the royalty that Tampuli referred you to? And I know that the Kumbungu people are also noted for the question the Honorable Muntaka asked you. Luabule, Chairman, I explained. That's why when the Yana dies, the Kumbu now goes by leg. He doesn't just take transport to Yendi to sit in with the beast to supervise the burial of the Yana. if you are a royal, as I know you are, explain this.
I'm the grandson of Kumuna Hassan.
That's fine, Chairman. So he must take note and improve it. And then, Chairman, we are making a request through you. All the support initiative under the National Entrepreneurship Innovation Program, we want to have a record of it. Who got what, when, and for what? Because I see in the numbers, I'm not ready to contradict you now, somewhere in your handing over, I see 96,000. And somewhere in page 77, I see 92,000. So I want to be able to rely on accurate data in terms of measuring, but we need it for our own purposes. And Chairman, that leads me to my first question. Project details. And you have a duty to the country. All your lunches were in Accra. Am I to know that beneficiaries were across the country? Because as I read in page 69, Presidential Business Support Program, Accra, Presidential Pitch, Accra, Women Entrepreneurship Conference, Accra, Global Entrepreneurship Week, Accra, Student Entrepreneurship. You could have done this in Wa or Bolga elsewhere, and Presidential Pitch again, Accra, Accra. Do I take it that even though the activity was in Accra, it was national in character, and beneficiaries were from across the country? Thank you, Chair.
Mr. Chairman, yes, beneficiaries cut across the country. And we launched the Zongo Business Program. It was launched in Tamale. I'm sure it's in there.
So back to Zongo, Honorable Eriko Poku, you know our women. It is not for you to teach them how to do koche or wache. The respective koche and wache are normally from our people in the Zangos and in many Dagomba communities. What they lack is business capital. And for a koche seller, she may just be looking for 2,000 Ghana cedis. And as you indicate, even 2,000, I'm told, is too much. If you went to a koche seller in Bekwai or Techima, she probably may be doing cocoa with 1,000 Ghana. Can we be assured that we will get the country's SMEs at a very micro level to benefit from some of these government initiatives, even though you are leaving the ministry? Why couldn't you have done that?
Mr. Chairman, we were able to do, we supported a lot of these micro, small businesses, hundreds and hundreds of them across the country. As I indicated, cocoa seller, there was a cocoa seller in Accra. Them roasted yam seller. We supported a lot of them. And they are working, they are making.
So how many people did you support under the Zongo Business Initiative? To the best of your memory, if you know the numbers in terms of entrepreneurs and how much money, can you share it with this committee?
Mr. Chairman, I can finish you later. I don't want to give contradictory statements. But
Yes, so finish, Chairman, with the Youth Women Entrepreneurship Initiative. You know how many you did? Youth. It's in your handing over notes. Thank you. Creative arts again. I'll be selfish in this because I'll use Dagbang as my base. The Dagombers have a very rich and proud history. However, it is oral history. Oral history. That's why you have the Lunsi, those who beat the drums. So if the Kumbu now was to pass here, the appellation will indicate if Savologo now was to get seated, the appellation. Will you take advantage as Minister for Creative Arts to get this codified as part of protecting not just for the Dagbang people, but Mole Dagbani people, any of them who don't have their cultural values codified? Will you do that as Minister for Tourism and Arts? Thank you, Chair.
Mr. Chairman, this is an important mission. I would humbly do that. I'll take steps to make sure that it's codified. Thank you.
because you risk withering away some of the historical, very deep developments of the Dagbang state. Now, the Bamaya dance, I'm a favorite of the Bamaya dance, Bamaya. And I'm sure Chairman was doing Bobobo when he was, that's the only one he and do the pump. The Bobobo dance, Bamaya dance, particularly as I said, I'll be selfish. Even the Torah dance of the Dagumbes. Now, instead of being entertained with Western music, Western culture, it was a source of entertainment for our young girls. The Torah, all of it have withered away with modernization. What do you intend to do about those cultural practices cut across the country to give true meaning to Ghanaian values and Ghanaian culture?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yes, modernity, globalization has affected this, but as I indicated, we cannot have effective tourism without a very strong cultural underpinnings. When given the opportunity, we want to encourage the regional arts and centers across the country to revive these indigenous traditional practices in terms of culture, dance, and music. We'll build them and make them, expose them to international competitions. It's even possible, Mr. Chairman, whenever Ghana has its day, National Day, and Safe March at Athens, we should be able to send these our cultural troops outside the country to perform in our various embassies. This will be one way of exposing them and making them marketable. So I want to assure you that we'll have a comprehensive package that will put resources into our rich culture, dancing, music, everything, creativity, make sure that they don't only last, but they also stay generation to generation. Thank you.
Chairman, there's significant development in our country today about lesbianism and gay. Lesbianism and gay. And you are a true Muslim. You are a true Muslim. I want to know where you stand, because where I stand is that I find it immoral and dehumanizing, and not in the context of any Ghanaian culture for a man to be relating to a man and a woman relating to a woman. Where do you stand on this particular moral issue?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think Ghana's religious practices frown on lesbianism. And that's how it is. It's frowned on. It's the cultural values do not accept it. Thank you.
Where do you stand? Because you are now going to be, in Tyler's words, culture is a people's way of life. We know our way of life as Ghanaian. Where do you stand? Will you carry high the moral values?
The Chairman will enforce our cultural values and respect our cultural practices.
So, I haven't seen a male goat or a male cow running after a male goat or male cow. So I know, that's why I say I know where Professor Michael Quay stands strongly. He's anti-lesbianism and gay as leader of this house. He stated that publicly and as a reverend person. So I was giving you an opportunity, since now you would be the torchbearer of our culture and values, you would advise high authority on this matter. So, Chairman, subject to those documents, I think that I know Alhaji Awal well. I will end with some question. When you are angry, do you get physical at home? When you are angry, do you get physical? Yes, do you get physical?
No.
Okay, thank you, Chairman.
My leaders are not here, so I'll just, you know, Mr. Kwesi Jana Painting, he used to work with graphic, right? He sent me a message to ask you, what do you seek, what will you do about the apparent tension between culture, and tourism.
Mr. Chairman, it's not apparent. I think that the two are intertwined. The two sectors need to collaborate because they have to depend on each other. Without an effective cultural background, we cannot succeed in our tourism drive. So I think we need to make them work together to achieve the desired results.
Well, the next one is my own observation. We've talked about programs promoting tourism, internal tourism. I fully support that. But it appears to me that we don't hype enough the specific things we want people to travel to see. You hear about Paga Crocodile Pond, but we don't hype what you see. What are the excitements if I go to Paga? So, yes, you see a photo of somebody sitting on Paga. Why should that excite me? So, we should probably put more emphasis. And I'll give an example. I went to the Mauritius, and they said 21 color earth, 21 colored earth. And I was excited. I had a taxi, traveled about 2 hours, got to the site. I had to hire a motor to sit on it. Somebody ahead of me went up. And what I saw there, I see it at Bekwa every day. It's, this same colors passing through the earth. Some yellowish, some goldish, some green. And they said 21 colored earth. The name was exciting. You want to see something special. But in the end, you've spent the money, you've hired a taxi. After that, I went to eat lunch. All that you spent. So I think that we should create very creative hypes to get people to want to move from their home to go and see something which may, in other words, very ordinary. That's my suggestion. Thank you. We thank you for attending upon the committee. You will hear from us, but for now you are discharged.
Thank you, Chairman, and thank you, honorable members.
Ten minutes, we will resume and take number. Yes.